Hey there, it's Greg Nicotero. You're listening to the Regular Joe's podcast. Awesome. Stay tuned.
To movies and toys and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant. Back together again.
Together again. It's been a long time, right?
Been a hot minute.
It's been what? So it's been 2 weeks since we've actually recorded together.
So much has happened since we last recorded.
So if you have not listened to the 500th episode, yes, that's correct, 500th episode of the Regular Joe's podcast, do yourself a favor and go listen to it. Not only is it 500, which is enough in and of itself, it's a good one. We interview John Rhys Davies of Indiana Jones and The Lord of the Rings.
He's probably better known for that than he is for Indiana Jones.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Though I will say,
doesn't even look like himself.
In line, it was endless line of Gimli pictures and pops. So
really,
yeah,
I'm telling you, he's probably more famous for that than he is for Indiana Jones.
That's crazy because he can't even recognize him.
True.
Right? And
when I was explaining it to Maria, she had no idea that was him.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah, but I think Pam knows. She likes those movies. Anyway, Greg Nicotero of Creepshow and other stuff. Walking Dead.
I mean, look, we don't like Walking Dead anymore, but you can't deny Walking Dead.
No, you can't deny what he brought to it. And then neither one of them talks about their stuff. And anyway, just go listen to it. It's great. Yeah.
And let's not forget Keith Coogan, the dish guy.
The dish guy.
Yeah, dish guy. So anyway, we had a great time. It's a great show. I think it's one of our, we've gotten good guests over the years. John Rhys Davies, obviously.
Let's just say this. It is an interview you will not hear anywhere else.
You will not hear anywhere else. He sat down with us for more than an hour. His handlers tried to get him to leave.
Tried to pry him
multiple times. He's like, away with you. I'm talking about important stuff here. I think he was having more fun than we were.
Couldn't have been a nicer guy once you get going. More gracious. He was super into talking to us. I got a chance to see him again the next day. He thanked me profusely for. I was like, we interviewed him, and said what a great time he'd had, and hopes to do it again. And
I obviously wasn't able to be there in person, but you guys did an amazing job, not just on that interview, but just in the whole show. But that interview in particular, literally came like in a death spiral out to one of the greatest interviews we've ever had. So
we owe that to one Joe in particular. So Dave kind of pitched it, but then Brian caught it and dragged it across home plate.
Brian not only brought him in, but when he didn't want to talk about anything or like what are you into, it was something Brian knew everything about. So it was great.
When an actor you love and admire looks you in the eye and says, "Ask me an intelligent question."
Yeah, and it tells you it's not.
It tells you it's not an intelligent question.
Yeah.
We've interviewed enough people at this point that I don't really get nervous when we do it, but I don't know what I would have done had I been there.
He was grumpy. In fact, when I saw him the next day, he apologized for being so grumpy at the onset, and he said, "You can cut all that out, right?" And I was like, "Yeah."
He said, thankfully, because I painstakingly went through every second of that interview when I was editing it, and I kind of, again, if you don't, we're in the lobby of a hotel. There's hundreds of people around. We're doing our thing. There's a lot of stuff you got to keep your eyes on. the mechanics of the recording, what the guy's saying here. He did say, like, edit something, and he did say something in joke that he didn't want out, and I did edit, but
yeah,
I didn't really register that in person, and I thankfully caught it, like, on the audio recording as he was wrapping up, so I'm glad I did.
And had you missed it, I would have caught, because I listened to it.
As well. Yep.
Well, he said it like 3 times
before we released it. No, I know what you're talking about. I know what he said, and I know why he asked for you to cut it out. But I would have caught it if you before we released the show. But great job all the way around. I'm glad I was able to be on it for a part of it, even though I was away, and that worked out. And you guys did a great job. Yeah. So congratulations on your amazing 500th episode that thankfully I got to be a part of. And I don't know if I texted it to you guys, but this is the first episode I've actually been able to listen to as a listener because I wasn't there for it.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
for me, it was a pretty awesome thing too. I mean, I was on the first half, but I wasn't in the second half.
And a shout out to Brian also for Greg Nicotero. He sort of made friends with him at another show and then talked to him, and Greg was great. Sat down, talked about all kinds of stuff that he's into like we are. So
this awesome. Is one of the great things about over time. This has developed into, we started as a team, but it's kind of developed into a team, very much a cooperative effort. And Brian, like I said, was reeling these people in and keeping them engaged. Daryl was doing crowd control, and Daryl was talking to other people and taking pictures. And sometimes when you got a lot of people sitting around, just knowing when to put your ego in check and not be talking is a important thing. And so he was great at that. And it was good all the way around.
And I loved the interview that you guys did with John, and I would have been able to contribute nothing to it. So it was actually if I had to miss a celebrity interview from somebody who we love in movies, that was the one for me to miss because I could not have added anything of substance to that discussion. I would have just been sitting there listening like I did when I listened to it on the podcast.
Barry, I was 3 feet away from him, and I was just kind of like, okay, just don't say anything dumb. Don't say anything dumb. Don't say anything dumb. And
we've made some good friends through this, and Brian is high on that list. Brian's a rock star.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's terrific. He really, awesome. Yeah. So,
it was a good time. It was. It's always nerve-wracking a little bit, but it was a good time.
And I do just want to add one thing for anybody who did listen to it and didn't understand what this comment was. So we didn't even mention that Spencer Wilding was on for a couple minutes. He was talking to me. He couldn't hear me, but Brian was holding up a cell phone, and I was on it. And I'm wearing a Lucasfilm T-shirt, and he comments on my T-shirt, and then he comments on my hat. What he was seeing, I was at my parents' house in Florida on my phone, which was leaning up, and he saw the ceiling fan above me. The light was on, and it looked like it was right on my head, and the blades of the ceiling fan looked like a hat.
I totally didn't get that.
I didn't know that at all.
Well, that's why I'm telling people. I mean, anybody who listened, and I mean, it's a blink and you miss it moment in the show, but I'm like, nope, he can't even hear me. And he's commenting on my hat, which wasn't a hat at all. It was a ceiling fan above my head.
At one point, so we're talking to him, and you're on the thing there. You're on the phone, patched in, and I'm like, "Oh, our friend got your autograph last year." And he looks. I'm pointing, and he looks behind him, and I'm like, "No, he's on the phone right there. He's like looking for where you are." And I'm like, "No, on the phone."
The other thing was when you yelled out "plate guy" to Keith Coogan. That on the show sounds like I'm having a conversation with him. He's talking to me. I'm talking to you guys. He can't hear me, but when you listen to it back, it actually sounds like a coherent conversation.
I could not remember that guy's name at all.
I did not remember. I could barely remember that guy. So that's.
But he responds to plate guy, so that's fine.
He responds to plate guy apparently. So
he knows his thing.
It was fun. It was there's pictures on Instagram. Check that out. Like that and comment there and check out the show.
Share this one with other people too. It was a great time. These are always most times these are good shows, and this was a particularly good one. And I'm really glad it was our 500th.
It worked out great. Yeah. It worked out great. So, anyway,
okay.
What else? We'll do some random and then we'll get into a couple things.
Yeah.
Todd, what you got?
Okay, if you have on 109 minutes to spare and you're not doing anything in the next couple of weeks, go see The Marvels. Everybody I talk to who's actually seen this movie has really enjoyed this movie. I am utterly baffled, and I would like someone to tell me who's seen it, tell me why there is the hate for this movie that there seems to be. And
is there the hate for the movie, or is everyone just sick of the MCU?
I don't know.
I haven't seen it. I plan to.
No, I've read reviews that just tear it to pieces. There's a great review on The Verge that apparently he saw the same movie I saw, but a lot of these other mainstream sources just shred this movie, and I really liked it. And I'm, like I said, I can usually see when one of these movies, I can see the flaws in it, and there's 3 recent ones. There's a lot of, not the most recent ones, but 3 of the more recent ones. There's huge flaws in them. I just unless you expected this to be something much more than it was, I don't see where it's bad. I was talking to someone today, and I kind of equate this to Guardians 2. It's a smaller movie. It's kind of a self-contained story, but there's character growth. And for anybody who thinks that, like, Carol Danvers is a cold fish and, is emotionless and all this kind of stuff, they give you good explanation of why. And they explore that a little bit while giving equal time to 2 other characters. And like I said, I think it's very good. It's definitely worth your time. Don't go, we've had a year with a Flash film that was very good that nobody saw.
Yeah.
An indie film that was very good that nobody saw. Mission Impossible that was very good that did not do the numbers it should have. And
I think people are just crapping on movies because it's the easy thing to do.
I think the problem is people with nothing to say are getting out ahead of these things on social media and poisoning the well. And I think a lot of people are steering away from these things based on what they consider to be widespread perception, when it's just people talking out their ass who have not seen it yet. I saw predictions on the box office of this being the worst ever 2 weeks before this was released. How do you know that? And
well, they do extensive testing, actually.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's like it becomes, but there's a point where it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I agree. Yeah, you put that out there. It's fine for the company to know that, but you put that out there in the news and like, it's tracking the worst. There are idiots out there who listen to reviews of movies that the reviewers haven't seen yet. Yeah. It's just, people are stupid.
There is a montage scene in this that is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a Marvel film, and it totally works in the film. I'm
hoping to see it this weekend. I think part of this too is I don't think they knew how to market this because it started out very lighthearted. It went to some very serious, and then they started playing up see an Avenger do this. Like, I don't think people necessarily think of Captain Marvel as a core Avenger.
I think that was.
This is the thing, Barry. That was the last point I was going to make. Is I think if they marketed this much more like a Guardians thing, because it's far more in that vein. It's a Marvel cosmic story that's told on that scale, and it's fun, and it's more fun than anything. And these people have great chemistry between them. They work really well together. They gave a tremendous amount of time to the Ms. Marvel character, which they should have, and I think it's great. And
I'm hoping to see it this weekend if I can.
Again, at the very least, it's very good, and it's at least 2 points higher than it's currently being rated. So, a point and a half, anyways. It's a 7.5. It's easily a 7.5. So
that's a decent Marvel movie given their recent track record.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, this is. I would say this and Guardians are the 2 watchable movies. Guardians 3 are the 2 watchable movies, and I would not hesitate to see this again. But yeah. Anyways, cool. So that's my
Barry. What do you got?
A couple things, but I'll start with this. So, one of my favorite Jim Cameron movies, The Abyss.
I knew you were going to say that.
Finally coming out in 4K. They're re-releasing it to theaters December 6th.
Just for one day.
And then it comes out on digital December 12th and 4K Blu-ray in March.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is a little weird. And they're also releasing Aliens in 4K, which has never been released in 4K before either.
How many versions of this movie am I supposed to have? I don't think I need 4K.
I think for those two movies, I mean, putting The Abyss aside, I know that's not everybody's favorite movie. I happen to love that.
I happen to like The Abyss too. But,
it's good.
But these are movies that, the HD versions are the best versions that we have. Like a 4K transfer of Aliens, like done right with an Atmos soundtrack, is going to be pretty.
I've bought at least 3 of versions of that movie.
I've got individual discs. I've got it all.
Aliens might be the film after Blade Runner that I bought the most times.
Well, the original Star Wars trilogy I've probably bought the most times, but
I probably I think I might have bought Blade Runner 5 times, and I brought at least 3, maybe 4 versions.
What's interesting with The Abyss is that they're calling it the Abyss Special Edition, which I'm assuming is just the director's cut version that we've seen before.
Been out there,
which is a way better version. I know you always tease me about this. Well, but there's an entire plot line that they cut because the studio made them cut like 45 minutes out of that movie. The longer version
the director's cut of that
is a far superior movie. It actually makes the story make sense. When you see it without these extra subplots, it kind of doesn't make total sense. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I'll see it in theaters, but I'm absolutely going to pick it up on Blu-ray.
And when's Aliens coming out? The same time or later?
Yeah, December 12th on digital and March 12th on 4K
digital
Blu-ray.
Meaning streaming?
Streaming.
Ugh, I don't want to.
Like you can buy the digital download.
No, if I'm buying it, I'm buying it on.
I'm going to buy it. Yeah, I'm
going to buy it on 4K. I bought a freaking 4K DVD player. I might as well have something to watch.
And I haven't bought a ton of 4K Blu-rays.
I haven't me neither.
My favorite movies I need a great
I'm with you.
Physical copy of it.
You convinced me. Yeah. I'll buy that.
What do you got, Dave?
Speaking of Marvel, I just read something now that, again, not confirmed, but it sounds like from a source who's close to the MCU, they're moving away from the Kang dynasty. Which
yes.
There's been a lot made about that in recent days on the internet.
We've been saying that for 6 months, and not only because of Jonathan Majors' issues, because the character sucks.
Well, and maybe they're building towards something that would end up being satisfying, but it's taking too long.
But they haven't done it well. When you roll out 3 inferior versions of a character before you introduce the actual character, really? I mean,
everything that's out there points to the fact they were totally surprised by how poorly Quantumania did. I think they thought that movie was a home run. I'll agree with that.
But this guy having issues is probably whatever, and allegedly whatever, blah blah blah, is probably contributing to this. But you have we didn't even know how much Thanos was going to be involved in the first bunch of movies, and now they are laying out like 5 years of it's going to be Kang. It's like, seriously? For the life of me, why does everyone announce this shit?
And so I'll tell you, even if you don't have to, you don't even have to read that much into the end of the. We'll talk more about Loki later, but Loki to basically, I mean, there's an interpretation of that where Kang just doesn't really exist. So.
I wonder if that's. I wonder if they.
I'm wondering if
you think they changed that end. We'll get into that.
Yeah,
spoilers.
But it's interesting. Yeah.
Anyway, this guy has gotten, not a ton of screen time, but he's the bad guy in a movie. He's been in 2 seasons, more or less, of a show, and is an uninteresting character. And then they said that the director is gone from the guy who directed Shang-Chi. Was going to direct the Avengers Kang Dynasty or whatever the hell it's called. He's out. Just scrap all this shit.
And if you look at, even if you look at the final scene of Ant-Man, he's not even sure this is a thing going forward. And it's but he's defeated. Or is he? Or isn't he? It's like.
I mean, I've never seen more. what's the word I'm looking for? Foreshadowing of here's going to be the big bad.
Well, they
going
were
forward.
looking for the next big bad
They
guy.
did less with Darth Vader. I mean, and
there's
less of a
more,
payoff.
I will say Kang has had a bigger presence in the Avengers stories over the years than probably any other single character, and certainly more than Thanos. And I see where he's naturally the go-to, but I don't think he was introduced correctly, and I don't think you start building interest in his character by introducing 3 weak-ass versions of him.
Well, and the two versions that I know we're going to talk about Loki later, but the 2 versions we got in the Loki series, season 1 and 2, were not great. Especially the version we got through most of season 2 was not great.
And you want to know what? Again, we're
yeah.
You want to just talk about Loki now?
No,
Let's talk about Loki. But
what I'm saying is, but had I not known, oh my God, Kang's gonna be the guy, I would have been like, it ruined this character because there was no, if it was this character for the sake of this character without all this other like here's what he's going to be,
and then you found out later that
it would have been more interesting.
Yeah,
it's almost like, oh my God, this is going to be the best freaking chocolate chip cookie you ever have, and then you get a piece of shit.
Then it's not a good cookie.
It's not a good.
Not a good cookie.
It's not a good cookie. Anyway, I mean, we can do whatever we want. We can go right into Loki.
So Marvel things. Did you see that potentially Pedro Pascal is cast as Reed Richards?
Yeah, I've seen. There was someone last week who was cast as.
Every week
Adam
somebody's
Driver cast as Reed Richards a couple weeks ago.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Who else?
Boy, I don't see that at all.
John Krasinski was the original rumor, right?
Yeah, but there was someone else like a week or two ago too.
Yeah,
I thought
it's every week there's somebody, and
Pedro,
supposedly
anyone who's got any graying in their hair in a picture is him. Yeah. Pedro Pascal is not freaking Reed Richards.
He's not Reed Richards.
No,
I'll take John Hamm before I take him.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, there's also been a lot of rumblings that maybe they're gonna, when they replace Kang as the big bad, it's gonna be Doctor Doom.
Could be Doctor Doom. It could
Which
be,
we've seen 2 bad versions of.
Yeah.
I mean, who else is Galactus? But is that like
Galactus
too much?
Is a different kind of thing. It's hard.
Who else is a real bad guy? You know this better than we do.
I'm trying to think of who would be.
Who's
Ultron?
You saw?
No, but I'm saying serial villains for recurring villains.
But does it need to be? I mean, can't they just take somebody who would be a good character and build him into a big bad?
I think they should. Yeah. I think there's or just build up. Do other intergalactic threats. Do the Skrull Kree War. Do.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that though.
No, but I'm saying, do something that's you gotta. It's almost there's got to be a huge thing to bring a team together.
How about that thing that Emilia Clarke turned into at the end of Secret Invasion? That'd be perfect.
That thing that she turned into
Super Skrull. Yeah.
Oh my God! There's got to be. I mean, but they really put all their eggs in this Kang basket, and stupidly. Like, why are you doing that? You don't need to do that.
Well, what about that Eternal thing that's sticking out of the ocean from the Eternals movie?
Yeah.
There's still talk of them doing another sequel to that.
They're not going to do a sequel to that.
I just saw they just released another Hot Toys figure, or one of the Hot Toys figures from that movie's finally shipping. I'm like, did anybody pre-order that? Nobody cares.
Anyway, they need another. I'm glad they need another big bad. I'm glad they're moving away from it. They did a horrible job setting it up.
Well, and to be fair, they haven't officially said that, right? Which is all rumor and speculation.
Not, but I'm hoping that's the case.
So we've done this before, but I'm going to say this again. They need to go little origin films, reestablish a whole new slate of characters that you can get interested in, and then draw them together. That's how they need to go back to. They don't need to wipe the slate clean and start with new casting on the original characters.
No,
you need to introduce. There's tons of other characters that they have not used yet. Including Fantastic Four, including all the X-Men. Start introducing these characters and then bring them in slowly together, and stop casting men in their 40s. Okay, because you need to do this is something you've got to do where you got 10, 15 years of runway, and it's got to be younger characters, and they've got to build towards that.
Well, part of what screwed up not just Marvel, but everybody with these 2 strikes, right? Because now that the strikes are all over, everything's being pushed out. So I don't know if you guys saw. So Deadpool 3 is now not coming out till July 2024. Captain America Brave New World's not coming out till February 25. Thunderbolts is now July 25. Blade is November 25. So, I mean, I was reading something about from the cast of Stranger Things, and they're like, Millie Bobby Brown's married already, and like she's very grown up looking. Like, how are they going to finish? She's very
grown up looking.
How are they going to finish that? Like, some of these things have just been delayed to the point of like it's kind of ridiculous.
They've only been delayed 6 months. I mean, when you really get down to it,
the
natural, break in these things because of scheduling and all that is very long as it is. I remember there were some times they put a James Bond movie out like once a year for a while. Those days are long gone.
Well, there was a point we were seeing 3 Marvel movies a year, and now we're going to get 1.
We may need this break, but Marvel, Kevin, please take this time to make stuff good.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they.
Speaking of Marvel, did you guys see the trailer that Sony dropped today? I didn't even know this movie was being made.
I was astonished that they're this far on this thing, because again,
I've heard that. I've been hearing that movie for a year.
I thought this was like spaghetti they threw against the wall kind of thing, and that like we'd be seeing this eventually. I did not realize it was this.
We're getting it next year, and there's a trailer dropped today.
There's a hell of a trailer for that.
Sydney Sweeney, who is all over the place, and I have no idea who she is.
Well, but I don't think she's the lead.
She's Madam Web.
Yeah.
Well, Dakota Johnson is all over the trailer. Johnson. I thought she was.
No, I think Sydney Sweeney is.
All right. Well, because Dakota Johnson's all over it, and they talk about her mom being in the jungle investigating spiders. Sydney Sweeney's in the trailer, but she's not prominently featured in the trailer.
Really? That's interesting. I got to check that out. I also had. I don't know who this girl is. I see tons of pictures. She's very attractive.
She's in that HBO
Euphoria
show about the kids that take drugs. I forget the name of it.
She is, but
she's very
supposed
attractive.
to be remaking Barbarella.
She's in the one that Zendaya's in. I forget what's the name of the show.
Yeah, that's Euphoria.
Euphoria, yeah.
Okay, I don't know anything.
So back up. They're remaking Barbarella?
There's talk of remaking. I could see that. Barbarella could definitely be remade.
Oh, I could too, but it's. I mean, that is so.
Oh no! Dakota Johnson is Madam Web. Sydney Sweeney is somebody else.
Yeah. So, boy, that would be really, really interesting. I mean, that's going to be.
I think I think Logan's Run can be remade, and I think Barbarella can be remade, for sure.
Yeah, and Sydney Sweeney as an actress in the part that she plays in Euphoria is known for being very sexual, and I think that'll play well into Barbarella.
Anyway.
Okay, but Barbarella was... I mean, I've read the French comics that it's based on, and it's very... much of that time. It'd be really...
They got to get it out of that 60s weirdness.
I hope they don't. I hope they try to, because otherwise it's going to be very weird. I don't see where that fits now. It's, again, it's the 60s perception of the future.
Yeah.
So,
well, maybe they'll remake Zardoz after that.
Oh yeah, God. That's it's. Oh God.
They have to find who has the hairiest chest in Hollywood.
Let me ask you right now, because it's just, if they were going to do Zardoz today, who would it be? You're casting it today. Who's it going to be? It's Pedro Pascal.
John Hamm.
I was thinking John Hamm too.
I thought so too. That was my second. But I'm saying it's going to be, and it would be just as awkward. It would be just as awkward.
Because he was he was not super young then. Right? What was that, 76?
Sean Connery? No, he was too old to be playing that part then.
So you need a semi-old, like a 50-year-old guy who's in decent shape with a lot of hair.
Yep.
I don't know who that is.
It's like half of Hollywood.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise could play Zardoz.
Tom Cruise is smooth-chested, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This would be the perfect place to throw in a fanboy commercial.
I know. I was waiting to see if...
Can we just go segue while I'm trying to get this image out of my head?
Yes. You know who is also...
Smooth chested?
Smooth, I don't know. Fanboy Collectibles. Okay, lots of stuff out there. Exo-6, Pike from Strange New Worlds, up for pre-order. Odo from Deep Space Nine, up for pre-order. Speaking of Stranger Things, there's a bunch of pops. There's a Godzilla pop. There's Road Warrior pops. They got everything. Everything you need. Check them out. Hasbro, Sideshow, statues, pops, Kodabukayas, all that stuff. And we say it all the time. It's the holidays. Make your list. Give your loved ones a list. Tell them, go to Fanboy Collectibles, order this stuff. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Check them out online at fanboycollectibles.com and tell them the Regular Joe sent you. Thank you, Troy. Where we go? Let's get this fucking Loki thing over with, will we? I've watched... I wasn't going to watch it, and then I knew you guys were talking about it, so I watched 4 episodes in the past 2 days.
You know, I'll say this. I am tired of shows that I have to go to YouTube after the fact to understand what the freaking ending means.
I disagree entirely.
I don't know. I don't know why you like this so much, and I'm not saying it's horrible, but it's complicated for being complicated.
It was beautiful. I enjoyed it visually.
I do too. I see that's the thing, Barry. Where we differ is, I don't feel I need an explanation for it. I mean,
why not?
Loki is too important of a character to the MCU for me not to understand how his
is a
story
variant
ends.
of Loki. This was never Loki Prime. This was
now you're
that
adding
actually
a
makes
layer
me
of
care even less
complication to this.
No, I'm saying this is the thing. This is a derivative of who that character was, but it's not that character. It's never been that character.
Who says that?
You remember the word variant in the first
I know.
episode?
But I thought that there were multiple Lokis, but that this was our Loki.
It's meaningless. Then it's
absolutely
meaningless.
Our Loki was killed by Thanos.
Oh yeah.
Loki Prime was killed by Thanos.
But
this is a variant from an alternate timeline.
No, but what didn't Loki in Endgame, when they went in the past, grabbed the Tesseract and left.
Escaped.
And where'd he go?
In an alternate timeline.
But that's the Loki that I assume
this
is.
Is the problem. I'm sick of this timelines multiverse.
Well, okay, but
I'm sick of it.
Okay, it's fine. I'm saying this is a variant. Okay, that was the Loki from an alternate timeline that escaped then. That's not our Loki, because our Loki was still captured at the end of Avengers.
Okay,
and went on to.
I'll accept that. But
okay, he's
Loki,
important, Barry, but your Loki's dead.
Right, but that Loki that escaped from that timeline in Endgame is the same Loki that we saw in this show, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
yes.
So far as I'm concerned, that's my Loki.
That's the only Loki you got left.
Yep.
I'm okay
Unless
with
you
that.
want that alligator.
Unless I want the alligator Loki
He's
or
the only
female
other cool Loki
or the
I like.
Kid Loki or whatever, but
who cares?
The old man Loki. But okay, so I followed this whole story through, and I said it 100 times. It was beautiful to look at. I loved the set design. I loved the weirdness of it. But I didn't understand the ending, and I had to go watch a YouTube video to have somebody explain to me how it ended.
What was the explanation?
Can I say what I think the ending is without you?
Yeah.
Because I literally just watched it before we recorded.
Okay, go ahead.
So, spoilers, by the way, if you're following any of this bullshit. So, the Kang, if that's him, there's no way of beating him. Even when they killed him, I guess, and I didn't even remember that from last season, they killed him. He was going to be reincarnated. He'd always be the guy at the end of time. He's the bad guy, blah, 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 blah. And then he's trying to figure out, okay, if I destroy the time loom, then only the one timeline, he still wins. So I'm guessing Loki destroyed the time loom and put himself to be the keeper of the time strands, or whatever they're called. That would happen?
He replaced the time loom.
He replaced the time loom, and he's the one holding on to all the alternate times.
But from now till the end of time, he's going to be sitting on a chair holding on to a bunch
until
of time
they need him in another
branches?
Movie.
Again, he's a god. Okay?
Yeah, but he's got to go to the bathroom and eat. Like,
I don't think he has to.
Too, right? He can't sit there and just hold the branches for the rest of the time. He's a god.
He's going to sit there and he replaced the. But here's what I mean. There's a lot of things.
How does that negate he who remains? Just because he's sitting there holding them doesn't.
Because he doesn't.
He who remains is negated because he's sitting there making candles as a kid, and no one throws that book through his window.
Let's back up. So when in the second to last episode. And again, if you haven't watched this, people go get a cookie because I don't know what to help you. I can't help you.
Get the good cookie though, not the bad.
Not
cookie
the crappy cookie.
Not the cookie made of shit.
Yeah. So at the end, so he realizes he jumps through time almost like Doctor Who when he's punching the ice in that one episode. So he goes back and he's trying all different ways to figure it out, and they cannot not have time explode, which will reset and let Kang reset himself again, I'm guessing, sort of, right?
Right.
And he says the only way you can do it is by killing Sylvie, and he doesn't want to do that. But what was I going to say? So if the time loom exploded, he'll just get regenerated and restart Kang, right?
Yep.
So he needed to come up with something else. But so Sylvie kills Kang ceased to exist, but with Kang ceasing to exist, the time loom's going to explode and he resets himself. So the only way he was let Sylvie kill him or not kill him and kill Sylvie. He didn't want to do that. Let Sylvie kill him, and he needed to find another way to get rid of the time loom but keep the time streams in sync.
The branches, yeah.
Yep.
Gives a shit.
You at least figured it out better than I did. I needed a video to help me try to make sense of it.
Dave, that was actually pretty much exactly it.
Maybe it would have been better if it was a little clearer. And we always say these did not need to be hour-long episodes. Give me 40 minutes of this. There's a little too much bullshit in these episodes. That's why I would have enjoyed it more.
Okay. Yeah. What did Loki want? What was in every incarnation of Loki we've seen? What did he want?
He wanted to rule the world.
He wanted to be a god.
But he didn't want to.
He wanted to sit on Odin's throne.
The throne, yeah.
Okay.
But now he did it out of humanity and
it was an
altruism instead of for his own ego.
Right.
And that's what took him.
But there was some goofy stuff in there too that I didn't think really fit the tone of it. Like centuries later,
well, that's the thing. But this is
I didn't mind that because it took him centuries later to learn everything, go back and learn the physics and Short Round learned.
Exactly, and then
that kind of stuff.
All the stuff,
right.
But it took him all that time to realize that what his, his purpose was, and this was what the function that he served. I mean, I know there's people out there making connections between the time stone being green and he's green and all this kind of stuff like that. I think he's just the glue that holds the timeline together, and and he was basically a god without portfolio until this came up, and this is what his thing is. And he will be there. He will be he who remains. He'll be there forever. And time passes differently for him. Maybe he gets bathroom breaks, Barry. I'm not sure.
You know what it is, Todd, too? We all know I'm the easiest to please of the three of us, but I think just Todd's like
going into that role now.
My Marvel a little easier to digest.
It's a little
simpler.
This was convoluted. I mean, what I described as what I knew was going on could have been done a little less convoluted. I mean, we waded through a lot of crap to get there.
Right. But you had a whole lot of hours devoted to the story. It's not a 2-hour movie, 2.5 hour, 3-hour movie simplistic plot.
No, but it could have been a 5-hour story instead of a 6-hour story that was tighter.
Okay.
Tighter. And
why did Loki do what he did? Why did he do what he did?
What was his motivation? Sylvie and he didn't want to kill her.
He loves himself.
All those people. Those people. Yeah. Okay. This Loki evolved and became someone who's capable of having a friend without stabbing them in the back at the first instance. Okay. That's not who started this show. The Loki that they brought in when they're going over his transgressions, and he's like, I wouldn't lie to you. You've lied to everyone. It's like, this is he evolved and became a person who was willing to sacrifice himself. And you saw that evolution over time. You saw what he was willing to commit to do that, to save these people, including Sylvie. And that's not the person that he started as. And that's why, like I said, it's a different, this is a variant of Loki. It's different, but he truly, in a sense, had a hero's journey. So
I'm good with all of that. It's just there was just parts that are just very convoluted for me, and I'm with Barry on that.
It's not a simple story. But I do like the fact that there are multiple off ramps for Kang in here. You can use this as the justification to steer entirely away from Kang. And I think that's.
And I just wonder, because this was clearly filmed a while ago. I wonder if that was a conscious choice, or if this was a change to the ending once they realized that Kang might not be their answer.
Boy, I'll tell you, just having that kid sitting there making the candles and that book not come in the window, right there, it could be the end of Kang. The fact that, we thought for 2 years that Sylvie killing Kang, she was killing that version of Kang, and then the next Kang would be that much worse, and then we find out it's the same Kang. It's just, he's basically looping. It's again, like I said, I liked it. It's messy. It's very, very complicated, but we spent way too much time in this thing to have a simple plot.
I'm not
thinking it's simple, but there was just a lot of extraneous stuff.
I don't need it to be overly simple. I'm okay with a complex plot. It was too convoluted to me.
It was convoluted.
I didn't love the portrayal that Jonathan Majors had for the majority of this season. It was a choice they made. It just, that choice didn't work for me.
Yeah.
The stuttering and everything.
I think this season was better than last season. I think the stink of last season really ruined it for me.
Yep.
But visually, I thought it was incredible.
I agree. And
what I also accomplished especially with the unraveling of the people and all that on a TV show budget, that stuff was really well done.
Yeah.
There was scope to it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. And like I like the characters they brought in. I think they did a really good job with certain aspects of it. It's not perfect. It's one of the better Marvel series, I think. And and I liked it. And I was actually happy with how it ended. I mean, I don't think we need another Loki wandering around at this point.
We totally don't. I do think I don't remember Kang Kwan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He added a lot to this.
The addition of that character was not shoehorned in to make, okay, we got one more person.
You needed the smartest guy in the room to explain and fix really complicated stuff, and that was lacking in the first, because not everyone did a good job with that.
And the fact that what I really liked was that we saw this through Loki's perspective, and the fact that he spent an entire episode trying to get all these people back to where he needed them to be, before realizing that he basically remembering he was a god, and that he had the ability to control these things himself. He was thinking about it from time variant agency parameters, and it really this was something he had to handle as a god, and ultimately that's what he did. Again, I like it. I understand where you guys are with it, but I think it was good. This is a
I'm
dead
liking
character.
it better as I simplify it in my mind.
This is a dead character that got another lease on life, and it was a very clever way of doing it. And I would be very opposed to their bringing the original Loki back. This was a clever way of doing that, but also making him into a totally different person. And I like that. So,
Okay, moving right along. What are we talking about? Lower
Decks? One last question. Are either of you more or less inclined to get a jet ski after watching this?
Not at all.
I have a hard... I mean, I really like Owen Wilson, but I have a hard time listening to him talk and not think of Lightning McQueen from the Cars movies. Really, that voice is so...
Okay, I guess so.
Well, but
again,
you got to remember, that movie was played in my house 1,000 times. My kids were at the right age for that movie, and he's just Lightning McQueen to me now. So
yeah. I didn't.
For me,
that.
it was Aladdin. So I understand. I do understand.
Yeah.
Lower Decks. Do we want to? I mean, it was cute. It was good. I don't know what else to say.
I love that show.
I will say
no stakes to it.
It's low stakes, but also this. If you're a Star Trek nerd, this is the show of shows. Okay, there is so much.
They pull in references from every corner of Star Trek.
They basically, I mean, the ship that she has is a steam runner class. Okay, which we only have ever seen on screen one time, and it's like I love when they pull up this obscure stuff. They never go out and create a new, other than the Cerritos. They never create a new class of ships. They pull these obscure things out of nowhere. The crashed ship. Do you remember when they went to Tendy's planet and the Starfleet ship that was there on the planet that they were sitting in when they got captured and stuff? Did you recognize that ship?
Not at all.
I might have at the time, but I'm not drawing it from memory.
That is the ship that 7 of 9 and her parents crashed in. It's the same model. The 7 of 9 and her parents crashed in. It was the Raven in her origin story, essentially. Never seen before, never seen again. Somebody said, there's got to be more than one of these ships, so let's use that.
I just love that they pull stuff like that. I mean...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
the episode about caves...
I think Caves episode was so great. It was like, I just love caves. They all have flat floors. They all it's
and they turn it into a flashback episode.
It's a flashback episode, and but again, all these things that it was great. I love the fact that they actually acknowledged that Robert Duncan McNeil played two characters that were basically the same
Paris.
guy.
You sure that's not Tom Paris?
It's like I don't see it. Doesn't he look like Tom Paris? I don't see it. It was great, really, it's really good.
I don't get anybody not liking. If you like Star Trek, I don't get anybody not liking this show. And we've all acknowledged it started out a little manic, but
it's
hit its
better.
stride.
Oh my god! If you look at the first few episodes, it's just like it's really almost like I said, hard to watch. But these characters have also evolved and changed and become interesting in their own right.
Key characters are
and I was glad to see them actually promote them. And move them a little bit, because like some of these types of shows, like The Simpsons, and I'm not comparing them. Maggie's still a baby, and this show's been on for like 30 years.
30 years, and that's one of the cool things with it is they promote. I love bringing in the fact. I mean, she's essentially is a classmate of Wesley Crusher, or in a younger. She was I guess a couple classes younger than Wesley Crusher, and then they got Will Wheaton to play Wesley Crusher. They got the original actress who played Cedo twice on 2 episodes to do that voice. Just really, really cool that they, like I said, they tie it all in together, because there's, again, the whole point of Lower Decks is there's all these people whose stories we have never seen or never heard. And I did like the Vulcan character that they added this year, whose name I can't think of, but
I don't remember.
Yeah, she's good.
She was a good addition, because she's just like she's an interesting kind of lens to look at everything through. So
they've done a great job with that show. I hope it keeps going for a long time.
It's fun.
So
and it's nice. It's quick, straightforward.
Yeah, and you don't have to think about it too much.
It's 25 minutes. I mean,
but I also like how they had a running thread through the whole season this season, which I thought was an interesting thing. That like for the first 5 or 6 episodes, you had no idea what was going on with it.
So think about this for a minute. Mariner's got to be like a decade older than the rest of them.
Probably.
Right? Yeah. Because if they're all ensigns on their first lap, and she's been a lieutenant like twice before, it's and never mind the fact that the crossover was, like I said, it's just before the season started. It's great. Like I said, it's so not what I expected this to be. And it's added to the franchise. It has. It's just it's one more way to love Star Trek. So It's my second favorite Star Trek show right now, and yeah, so and I guess going back several years, I would say that too. So, yep.
Cool. All right, let's go. What's in the box?
Show you with the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Barry, what's in the box? Wait, what are you doing? Wait, me and you were doing the same thing.
I think
right?
you and I are doing the same thing.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So
okay.
I don't know. It was a month and a half ago we
Wasn't that
talked
long
about
ago,
this
yeah.
on the show. I guess it's still called Eagle Moss, although now I guess it's called Master Replicas.
Yeah.
So they had announced that they were doing a signature series, 4 different pieces that were going to come with a signature from a different, either an actor or somebody involved in the.
So Eagle Moss
production.
makes the Star Trek ships in multiple sizes, along
Right.
just in case everyone doesn't know,
Right.
Along
So
with other stuff, other franchises,
Right. So the piece that I was most interested in was the Enterprise D, the bigger size of it. I guess they call it the XL series.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was going to come with a plaque signed by Andrew Probert. Is that how you pronounce
who
it?
designed
Robert Probert. And he's the guy that designed the original designer of that ship. And the price on this was like a ridiculously great deal. Like to get his signature and the ship, it was a great deal. So I ordered it. I know Dave, you ordered it as well.
Well, you told me about it, and didn't it actually show up for less?
The price
them,
that they
what they
advertised
advertised?
it for, and then when it went up for sale, it was considerably less than the price that they advertised it for.
Yeah, it was like $8 more than I paid for mine 2 years ago.
With
Well,
the signature plaque.
we definitely got at least a $7 plaque.
Yes.
Yes, so we're going to get to that. So what I find interesting is the plaque comes in its own envelope, and on the envelope it says limited to 500 worldwide.
I did see that.
But then you look at the plaque, and it says limited to 250 worldwide on the plaque. So I don't know how many of these there are. It's a nice looking plaque until you realize it's made of cardboard.
Yeah.
Every plaque I've ever gotten has been metal, but okay, still for what we paid for it, that signature looks printed, but it's not. It's actually hand signed.
But he's very precise, huh?
Yeah.
No surprise because he's a designer, but yeah, his handwriting is
I feel like yours is darker than mine. Let me.
Oh, really? Other than that, though, I mean, it's a little weird because it's got this plaque, but nothing to attach this plaque to, or no stand for the plaque.
Yeah. Well, you can put it on one of those little coin holders.
Yeah, you totally can. And look, I don't have the ship in this scale. It's
and it's nice.
Done
I didn't
ship.
either. That's
very
why I
nicely
got
done.
it.
It's a beautifully done ship. We paid, I think you were right, like $8 more for the version with the signature.
Cool thing, Barry, is if you have do you have the original Enterprise and the original scale at Eagle Moss?
Oh,
I do, and the only other XL ship I have is the TOS Enterprise.
No, but what I'm saying is the original scale Enterprise model.
Yes.
The small one.
Okay, the small one. They're very close in scale.
Oh, really? Okay.
If
That's
you
how
put
big
small,
the D is.
If you put the original Enterprise side by side with this, they're very close to being in scale with each other.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of neat to display the two of them together.
The other thing that I just found perplexing was they put this Master Replicas Signature Edition sticker here, but the only way to get the box open was to cut it in half.
You had to rip the thing.
And that was
really
really hard to open.
That's how they know they put the plaque in the box. Okay,
I
that's
guess.
what that is.
But you couldn't just
had to
run
destroy
a
it.
razor blade. I had the same problem.
Yeah, you had to destroy it to get the box open.
So you don't have a lot of the XL Star Trek ships?
No, I just have one. I have the TOS Enterprise that I actually got William Shatner to sign the saucer.
Is this bigger? Is this... How many sizes are there?
2.
3?
2. There's 2.
Some of those look...
I have all the... Well, okay, wait a minute. Dave, what's confusing is the Discovery ones are in the Discovery Series ones.
Is a medium scale.
Are in a medium size. So that
This definitely looks bigger than
right.
my...
Okay, no, I'm saying the Discovery Enterprise that I gave you, okay? The XL version of that is 1.5 inches longer. It makes no sense.
There's no scale to this, but this looks... well, it should be bigger than the Enterprise anyway.
But the XL ones aren't even in scale with each other, because the TOS Enterprise is bigger than this one.
What's the one on the top of the shelf behind you? What's that one?
So I have...
The Enterprise.
That's the D. The biggest of them is the
That's
C.
not the D. No, on the top of the cabinet.
Top of the cabinet.
That's the XL version of the Discovery Enterprise. Okay, which is we see in Strange New Worlds. You have the same ship. Yours is like mine's like 9 inches long. Yours is like 8 1/4 or something. There's very little difference.
It's weird that they do so many different scales, but
I don't know. Anyway.
I have all of the. What I have in XL is I have all the Enterprises. So I have the original.
I thought I do. I made 2
in XL.
I think so.
The original, the A, the B, the C, the D, and then the NX. The poor B is jammed away at the back of the case, but and the E, but
So it's. I mean, I'm very happy with it. Don't get me wrong, especially considering the price we paid. But it is a little. The plaque was a little underwhelming.
It looks smaller over there. So this
right.
Is the same
no,
scale.
that is the XL. Yep.
Yeah.
No. So.
And like I will say this for anybody listening to all this: if you are still interested in after this conversation, this edition is still available. I'm on their website now.
Here's another thing too. Here's another thing. I think they have just a crap load of shipping containers, and they don't know what's in them because stuff that was sold out last week is now restocking, and it's there again. So if you go to the website and you're interested in something that's not there, check back because there's a couple things that have been out of stock that are now in stock.
All right.
The other thing is there's a number of things that we thought were never produced that are actually for sale right now. And so there's
I don't think these are newly produced items. I think they're things
these are things that were in the pipeline when they went belly up. There's extra expanse ships. There's extra several extra ships from Battlestar Galactica, variants and stuff like that. That again,
like Loki.
I think it was what's that?
A variant like Loki.
Variant.
So I want to retract what I just said. According to the website, this is still available as we record this. But it says that this collection ends in 1 day and 20 hours and 42 minutes. So by the time this show goes live, it may not be available anymore.
No, but here's the thing, Barry. Then there's a new collection. Okay, I've been following this thing every week. It's like so they put a timer on the collection. They'll release a new collection, and this will be part of it. Okay, if they have them left, it's interesting marketing, but again,
it is.
Anyway, you get a signature. Can't hurt.
Yeah,
doesn't
for the
cost much more.
It's on the website for $89. The regular version
I'm still
is like
thinking
$80,
about getting.
So.
There's still some of the ones with the XL Deep Space Nine station, Turek Noir.
with Nanovisitors.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about getting one of those because I always regretted not getting the. And I have room in my case.
It's
a bigger
Deep Space Nine. That one's pretty big.
I have the regular size one, and it's pretty
big.
Do
too. And
that was the first thing they put out. I think wasn't
it's
it?
like 2 inches bigger. So
everything but maybe 3 of my Eagle Moss items are in a box in my attic. So I'm very careful not to buy too many of these. But this one was an exception.
Case full of them. I love them, and I love
them, but I just don't have them.
I have a lot that I am not displaying because I bought. Yeah. I was doing the weekly or the monthly series, and you're getting stuff that you don't want. That's all upstairs.
I have at least 30 or 40 that are in boxes. I mean, it's like I've got a lot displayed. I got the ones I love displayed.
Maquis shuttlecraft.
Yes. Oh, the Maquis craft. I got all these things. I have the Raven. I have the thing that 7 and 9's parents crashed in. I have all these obscure things. But there's also like just a lot of ships that I really love that no one else would have made. The 2 great things that I credit Eagle Moss with was they went so deep in these ships. They're ships that no one would have made. And the same thing with the earlier Batmobile collection. There are so many obscure Batmobiles that never had models made of them that I have and will always have, and I'm really psyched about that. So, they did really good stuff before they shot themselves. in the foot. So it's and you still have a chance, like I said, to get some of these things. So
cool.
So
all right,
all
Todd,
that
what do you
said,
got?
Todd, yeah, what do you got?
Oh God, okay.
Yeah,
You haven't gone yet. We've been
I haven't
talking
gone yet.
long.
Okay. So, anyways, I try not to buy a lot of Marvel Legends figures, but there's certain ones that I always get. I still always get all the Beast figures that come out, and I always get the Daredevil figures. And there's there's two that came out recently, which is kind of interesting. So Daredevil in the comics, Daredevil accidentally killed somebody, and he went to prison. And while he was in prison, Elektra took over as Daredevil. And so she's got a very kind of ninja Daredevil outfit, which is kind of cool. And they did a great job with this. If you pull the scarf down, she's got a full painted face and stuff like that. And she's got really, really good hand articulation, so she can hold her weapons the way you're supposed to hold them. And just kind of cool. And then when Daredevil got out of prison, they had a storyline for a while where he adopted a very similar kind of complementary ninja / Daredevil outfit, and that's this outfit. And here, but the thing is, so Daredevil is kind of the, well, literal and figurative redheaded stepchild of the Marvel Universe. Okay, her figure is marketed as part of the Spider-Man collection. I read all of these comics. At no point did she ever interact with Spider-Man while she was Daredevil. While she was filling in for Daredevil, but that's marketed as Spider from the Spider-Man collection, and then he is marketed under Marvel Knights, and it's like, I mean, the two are they're wearing matching outfits. Okay, it's like
yeah, it's a little odd,
but it's like two different collections, which makes no sense whatsoever. But again, really cool figures, and so they'll go in my case full of. They have every incarnation of Daredevil, and then most of the adjacent characters as partners, and so it's cool. So I like it. And like I said, Marvel Legends, it is amazing the job they do with these things. The deco gets better all the time. The detail is super, super good, and yeah, just they're the best figures of this type made. So, like I said, I try to restrict myself to only certain ones, but these are great additions. So
cool.
That's my thing.
Nice.
Cool. Okie dokie. That's a potpourri of stuff.
That's a whole
There's
show.
Random sampling of stuff.
Yeah. We'll be doing other stuff. We may be trying to get some other guests on, working on some of that stuff. We'll it's the holidays, so it'll be a little weird, but we should do an episode on what have you bought for yourself so that no one else can ever buy you anything.
Isn't that? Didn't we do 500 episodes of that?
Yeah, I feel like that's been every show.
Yeah.
You know what? I did want to just throw out, and by the time this show goes out, maybe it's irrelevant, but and I think you posted on social media about this, Dave, but our friends over at Regal Robot have a new maquette coming out. Or came out. It's already out.
Sold out by now, but
it's this very special Rancor maquette. They've already released a full-size replica of the puppet of the Rancor, but this is the maquette that was designed before the puppet. I saw the real one in person, and it's amazing. Phil Tippett sculpted it and painted it, and it's incredible. And I've seen the pre-production version of the one that Regal Robot did, and it's unbelievable. They did 100 pieces that come with a hand-drawn sketch from Phil Tippett. Those sold out in 10 minutes. I think the regular version, which comes with a signature from Phil Tippett, is 75% sold out already as we record this. But if you have any interest in this kind of stuff, jump on it, because this one is special. Like, they do a lot of maquettes, and I love all the stuff they do. I don't collect a lot of it, but this Rancor is pretty amazing, having seen it in person. So just throwing that out there.
Cool. There you go. Check that out. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Go see the Marvels.